Over the past several years, unmanned air vehicles, or UAVs, have grown dramatically and are now an integral part of aviation. Since the recent boom in aviation has occurred with UAVs and the military as the primary user, with its secret nature, many people do not know much about UAVs. I would like to take a minute to discuss the history, safety, and general operations of UAVs. Many people think unmanned aerial vehicles are new technology, but it is quite the opposite. Like anything, UAVs have developed through trial and error, and were not always as advanced as they are today. The first UAV recorded that the United States military used was in World War I. At this time, technology was not as developed as it is today. The UAV was known as a drone because it could not be controlled to land. It was designed to fly over an area, take a picture of enemy lines, and turn around, which was set by a timer on board, then crash in a general area for recovery of the imagery and intelligence collected. Since then, technology has greatly advanced, enabling drastic advancement for UAVs. Today's modern UAV is capable of flying well beyond the stratosphere, flight times of more than 24 hours without refueling, and multiple purpose payloads with minimal risk of injuries or fatalities. UAVs are flown by what is known as the ground control station, and data is sent to and from the aircraft by satellite communication or line-of-sight data link through a ground distribution terminal. You might be asking yourself, what if you lose link with it, like when your call is dropped on a cell phone? Well, most UAVs are pre-programmed to fly to a predetermined location and fly a pattern until you reestablish control. Some UAVs can even pick the nearest airport and land themselves without human input. One positive personal experience I have had with UAVs is in June of 2006, I was deployed to Operation Iraqi Freedom as a UAV operator with the United States Army. Due to the long endurance of our aircraft, we flew missions that lasted up to 20 hours. Missions of this length were possible without exhausting the pilot in command or the crew, since the aircraft was operated from the ground. We changed out pilots and crew members every 4 hours. This drastically reduces the chance of pilot error due to fatigue. One particular mission I had just departed Balad Air Base in Iraq. Just moments after departure, at a low altitude, air traffic control directed me away from the airfield for incoming traffic. At approximately 3,000 feet and 10 miles from the airfield, I started to receive small arms fire. The enemy had struck my aft engine with a bullet, disabling it. The aircraft began an uncontrollable descent. As I started back for an emergency landing, I realized I was not going to make it back, so I coordinated with my mission payload operator to make a controlled crash in a non-populated area, which resulted in 0 injuries and 0 fatalities. And since there was no pilot or crew member on board, there was no need to risk other lives for search and rescue in a combat zone. With certainty, if this was a manned aircraft, pilot and crew would not be as fortunate as I was. These are just a few practical examples of safety benefits of UAVs. Currently, there are no federal aviation regulations governing UAVs since they are so new to the aviation community in this mass form. The Federal Aviation Administration has banned the flight of UAVs in national airspace without prior safety precautions established for the majority of UAVs, with the exception of 3 platforms. Like manned aircraft, UAVs use flight instruments to interpret the flight characteristics of aircraft only with a UAV pilot is on the ground. In early aviation, a term was developed, fly by the seat of your pants. This term references back to early aviation when there were limited or no flight instruments available. Pilots used the body's kinetic senses to interpret the aircraft's attitude and fly it accordingly. The positive side to this in manned aviation, the pilot can physically feel and hear the aircraft, which can make for an immediate correction of a problem. The positive side for this in unmanned aviation is in a pilot's instrument training, they are taught to solely rely on their instruments and disregard their kinetic senses, since there is no visual horizon, and kinetic senses can be misleading. A UAV pilot has no choice but to rely on his instruments, which makes it easier to make fast, rational decisions in emergency situations that occur in intense meteorological conditions without the hazardous temptation to rely on false kinetic senses. An example of this misleading kinetic sense in bad weather is Buddy Holly's plane crash on February 2nd, 1959. Also, since a UAV pilot is not in the aircraft, this eliminates aviation medical factors such as facial disorientation, toxic hypoxia, and carbon monoxide poisoning from pilots, reducing health factors for aviators. There is much of this information online today so that you may research for yourself. I hope what we have covered today has brought some helpful information to you about the history, safety, and general operations of unmanned aerial vehicles.